I'd like to welcome Jacqueline Del Bravo, who works for Hepatitis WA. Jacqueline has been working in partnership with Aqua for a few years now and delivering the birds and BBVs training. And since then, Jacqueline has also delivered a few bites with us. So welcome, Jacqueline.
Thank you very much, Veronica, for having me today, and welcome everybody. So today I'm going to just do a really brief overview of hepatitis, viral hepatitis A, B and C, but I'm also going to be doing and sharing information about Mentimeter, which is an interactive software that I've been using to do all my presentations for the last couple of years. I thought you may want to find out about it if you don't use it yourself, because it may come in handy if you're doing some online presentations. It keeps everybody engaged and active as well. Okie doke. So can everybody see my screen okay?
Yep.
Yep.
Yep, that's good.
Excellent. All right, so I'm from Hepatitis WA. I'd just like to acknowledge the traditional owners of our lands, specifically the Binjara people whose lands I'm on today, and pay respects to elders past, present and also emerging. So Hepatitis WA, we are an organisation that's in Northbridge. We've been around for 30 years. We do a whole range of services. We have a confidential helpline. We do testing and treating for a whole range of health conditions, education and workshops, and we also have a needle and syringe program where people can come to see us to get free injecting equipment. And of course, we do that to reduce the spread of bloodborne viruses in our community. I just thought I would bring a little bit of a promo of our Dean Clinic in a nice picture. We accept walk-ins, or people can ring up and make an appointment. We do sexual health screening and also general health. We have a female doctor and also female nurse. All right, so getting into the session, it's online education using Mentimeter. So I don't know if any of you are familiar with Mentimeter. I started using this when we went into the COVID lockdown, so I can continue doing the workforce development education sessions. And since I started using it, I haven't stopped, because it's enabled me to go into regional areas and do presentations when normally that would be a really large undertaking because I'd need to travel. I can also do a variety of workforces where people have work in different offices and different locations, or they're working from home. They can all join into the same training on the day. So to get us started, I have brought along my friend who will pop up any moment. His name's Jason, and there he is. Could you let Jason and I know how you're feeling? And the way you can do that is you can see right at the top of the screen, it's got www.menti.com. So on your mobile phone, if you just go to that website, www.menti.com, enter that in. And once you're in there, you will be prompted to put in the password or the passcode. And today's passcode is 72432464. And once you're in, oh, much better for seeing you. I would take that as a compliment, but I think it's actually referring to Jason. I don't know though. So you can see, so someone's not bad, that's excellent. So you can see down the bottom, I've got 2 people in the room now. I get a little indicator that pops up. So if you're doing some online training and you know you've got 10 people you've let in the room, you'll know how many of them you've actually got engaging with you. So someone's calm, which is amazing, content, good to hear, happy, positive, pretty good, fantastic things. So I've got 5 of you logged in at the moment, which is excellent. While I just wait, because I've logged myself in too, so I think we should have a couple more. But while we wait, I'll show you how you can ask a question. So on your phone, if you just scroll down, see where it says send a comment or open Q&A. So if you click on open Q&A, if one of you who does that wants to ask me a question, and then it will pop up on our screens and we'll all be able to see what it looks like. And as you're going through and you're doing presentations, especially around bloodborne viruses or sexual health, it's actually really good when people can ask anonymous questions. They might feel a little bit more comfortable. And we just had someone join the group, Ian. Hi, Ian, and welcome.
Apologies for being late. There's a meeting overlap.
No problems at all. Just to get you up to speed, my name's Jacqueline. I'm from Hepatitis WA, and I'm doing a little presentation today using Mentimeter, and it's on viral hepatitis. And I've brought Jason along with me to get us all started using Mentimeter. So on your mobile phone, if you wouldn't mind going, you can see the top of the screen, it says www.menti.com. If you wouldn't mind just putting that in your search bar, and then once you're there, you'll be prompted to answer a code. And today's code is 72432467. So if you enter that in. All right, so you can see down here, I've got 2 questions that have popped up. So I'll open that. My first question, how are you? Thank you for asking. I'm pretty well. I've had a really busy morning, but I'm feeling quite energized and looking forward to a good afternoon as well. So you can see that's answered. And then I've got, hi Jack, Ian has joined. Thanks for letting me know. Welcome, Ian. So you can see, I don't know who's sent the question. It pops up as a screen. All of the group can see the question, and it's completely anonymous. So if it's something people don't feel comfortable in asking, they don't need to fear that. All right, so we'll keep going ahead for now, and hopefully Ian will be logging on in a moment. So there's a question, or you can ask a comment if someone wants to try that. So if you just scroll down, you can see send a comment. And comments, if someone sends one, we can see a comment will sort of flash up on the screen. Everyone will be able to see it, but then it will vanish. So someone's found the hot. Yes, that's for Jason as well. So the group will get to see the comment, and then that will go. But if it's a question, it's better for the presenter if it pops up as a question. So, because often I'm not quick enough to read the whole question if it's a full question. All right, let's get going. Woohoo. So especially if you're going out and you're doing presentations, well, I go to TAFEs. Well, I don't actually go anywhere. I do it all online. Young people especially like to interact using their mobile phones and doing all their little comments. All right, so hepatitis literally means inflammation of the liver. Hepa from the Latin word for liver, and anything itis in medical terms usually refers to an inflammation of some sort. So our liver is one of the most important organs that we have, and it does over 500 different processes in our body. Removing toxins is one of the most important things that it does, and it also creates energy and helps in digestion and stores a lot of really essential proteins, carbohydrates, vitamin, minerals, etc., etc. So you might want to think about your liver like your body's big processing plant, and it's an organ that you can't live without. If your liver stops working, hey Jack, maybe tell people to hit go. Yeah, good reminder. So people can follow along with either looking at the screen, or when I get to the next question slide, you can click go to slide, or if you want to make a comment on that slide, and it'll come up on your phone as well. So at the top in the blue section. Yeah, so if your liver stops working, you'll pass away, or you'll need to have a liver transplant. You can't live without it, and there's no machine you can be hooked up to that would replicate what the liver does in your body long term. These are the things that impact on your liver. So alcohol, drugs, illegal and legal, over prescription and over-counter medications, viruses, what we're going to talk about, diet, chemicals, and also smoking. All these things impact on our liver. All right, so blood-borne viruses. I said viruses can impact on the liver, and 2 of the hepatitis viruses are actually blood-borne viruses, and these are viruses that are in our blood that can be transferred from person to person through blood-to-blood contact. And while I'm here on this slide, I'll just show you a little thing about Mentimeter. So during your presentation, your participants will be able to react to each slide. So if they really like it, they can send a little love heart. So I just sent myself a love heart, a thumbs up, or a random cat, whatever they like. So you can have a lot of fun with Mentimeter. You can go and you can ask a question or send a comment on each slide. All right, so can you name a blood-borne virus? Now, obviously, I know you guys all can, but I just wanted to show you how Mentimeter could be used while you're going out and doing training sessions with a whole variety of people. HIV, yeah, excellent, well done. Hepatitis C, yeah, well done. That's another one of our blood-borne viruses, and we've got one more. Any guesses? Hepatitis B, excellent, well done, everyone. All right, so over 1,000 people unfortunately die each year, and that's as a direct result from liver cancer or liver failure caused by chronic hepatitis B or C, which are blood-borne viruses. All right, so I've said hepatitis B and hepatitis C are blood-borne viruses, but I haven't mentioned hepatitis A. Can anyone tell me what body product can transmit hepatitis A? So you can see this is another little bit of a graph, so you could ask any question you wanted during your presentation and people can respond. And no one's going to say the wrong answer, so I'm going to have to. And if you can't find the slide to comment on, remember just at the top, clicking on go to next slide. Once you've clicked on your answer, scroll down and click on the blue button where it says submit. All right. So well done, everyone. I've got 5 people who've answered, and 80% of you think that it could be in feces or in poo, and 20% of you are thinking that it might be in saliva. So let's have a look. So then you click on show the correct answer, and Mentimeter will take you to the right answer. Just so you all know, I put saliva. So normally I would go through explaining each one of these body products, which ones are likely or have the ability to transfer viruses and which ones don't, or blood-borne viruses, or hepatitis A, B, C, and HIV. So then here I would go through, which I will, the little bit of the story about hepatitis A, how it's a virus that's transmitted through oral fecal transmitted, so poo to mouth, and then I take them through the stories of the frozen berries. So do you remember a few years ago when there were some frozen berries that came in from overseas? People in Australia ate these frozen berries, and people who didn't have immunity to hepatitis A got sick and went on to develop hepatitis A. So what could have happened in the berry factory overseas was one thing, somebody working there may have washed or irrigated the berries with the feces of somebody that contained the feces of somebody who had active hepatitis A. Another thing that may have happened, the fertiliser used to fertilise the berries may have been contaminated with the feces of someone who had hepatitis A. And the third thing that may have happened, somebody working in the factory may have gone to the toilet, they didn't wash their hands, they came out, they touched all the berries got snap frozen, the freezing didn't kill the virus, the berries got sent over to Australia, and people living in Australia without immunity ate the berries and got sick. So a little more of information about hepatitis A. Its transmission, like I said, is fecal oral route. Symptoms: nausea, diarrhea, tiredness and fever. So a little bit like gastro. Some people just get mildly unwell, other people get unwell a little bit more severely. The good news is it's vaccine preventable, so it's 2 doses over 6 months. And it's 100% clearance rate. That means everybody who gets the virus will naturally clear it within 6 months, and afterwards they will also have immunity, so they won't get the virus again. Hepatitis B is one of the blood-borne viruses, so it's in blood and it's in sexual fluid, so it's in semen and vaginal fluids. Is vaccine preventable, 3 vaccines over a period of 6 months. If you get hepatitis B as an adult, 95% of us as adults will clear it within 6 months, but 5% of us will go on to have a lifelong case of hepatitis B. There's no cure, but there are effective treatments. So that is hepatitis B in a really brief nutshell, because I'm on a really short time frame. Hepatitis C, it's in blood only, so it's different from hepatitis B because it's not in sexual fluids. And there is also no vaccine. They haven't been able to create one. And there is also no immunity. So as an adult, if you contract hepatitis C, you will clear it, if you're lucky, in 25% of the cases. But then you can get it again and again and again because there is no immunity. But the good news about hepatitis C is there is a cure available. There's been a really effective, well-tolerated cure available on the PBS for the last 5 years, and about 100,000 of us in Australia have taken this cure at the moment. And these are the activities that are a risk for spreading of the blood-borne viruses, so hepatitis B and C. So sharing any injecting equipment, sharing of non-injecting equipment, so non-injecting drug equipment, that should say, unsterilised tattooing or piercing, sharing personal hygiene items, so if you think things like toothbrushes or nail clippers, things like that, anything that you use that could potentially cause you to bleed should not be used by more than 1 people. Also, fighting and violence, sports injuries, providing first aid, needle stick injuries, and also sexual contact. All right, so we've gone through, and I apologise for my very, very basic presentation, but it was mostly about showing you how to use Mentimeter. So at the end of my presentations, which are usually for a couple of hours with much more detail, I get the participants to do the evaluations, and that way, through using the Mentimeter software, you can actually get this the evaluations in an Excel spreadsheet. You can get them out of the Mentimeter software and then use them for your reporting purposes, etc., etc. So if I could just get you to vote on that. So you pull the little round dot right to the end if you think it's a 10 out of 10 presentation, or if you think it's a 5 out of 10 presentation. And that's how you get your votes from your participants, which is sometimes really good and other times a little bit daunting because you're sitting there and you're getting evaluated live. So I've got 6 of you in there voting. Excellent. I'll just go on to the next slide. Then I do a true or false for my post-evaluation. I also do a pre-evaluation at the beginning of the presentation. So just some questions, and I get these questions also line up with evaluations that we need to, with our outcomes that we need to report on. So it's another way of getting your evaluations from participants online. And once everyone has voted, I'll just wait 2 minutes. I know you all know the answers to these ones. So you can ask any questions that you want. I think there's probably a limit of 6 questions that will fit in the Mentimeter screen. You can also do quizzes with Mentimeter, which I do when I do Veronica's, which is a lot of fun for people. It has leaderboards, and they can see who's winning, and people win by correct answers and also speed of answers. And it will, once you press to show the correct answer, it will come up automatically. And the last thing to show you is evaluation questions that can be kept confidential. So if you go onto your phone, click on go to the next slide, you can see my questions that I've answered, and these don't pop up on the screen. People's responses will remain confidential, and when you've finished your presentation, you can get the responses out of Mentimeter in Excel spreadsheet form. And that is the end of my presentation. I thought I had one more slide, I don't. But hopefully that was a really quick bite of hepatitis, viral hepatitis, and also Mentimeter. Hopefully I did it justice. I feel like I fumbled through it quickly.
Jack?
Yeah.
So with the Mentimeter, like obviously you joined up. So is it expensive to join Mentimeter?
No, so you can either have a free prescription where it doesn't cost anything.
Mm-hmm.
And if I first joined up when it was free, so I could sort of teach myself how to use it.
Yeah.
And once I got a little bit more confident, Hepatitis WA, I think they pay now like $14 a month for Mentimeter. And then we can, once you have paid a subscription, I can upload my PowerPoints to Mentimeter. Without doing that subscription, you have to go in and create each slide manually. So if you're already using PowerPoints and you just want to put them onto Mentimeter, it's much better to subscribe.
Yeah. Okay. And did it take you long to learn how to use it and to get your presentation all like?
It was a bit stressful, but I think because we had the stress of the COVID lockdown and all, like, oh, what do we do? And I'm like, okay, I'm going to learn online stuff. And I think you remember those days quite well.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it was for me, I guess, as being a little bit technically challenged as well. It was a little bit complicated, but I think for someone who might be more familiar with using things like that, it would probably be a little bit easier. But they have a Mentimeter, I think it's called a Mentimeter Academy, that's what it's called, that you can join and you get trained on Mentimeter. You go through step by step different units and learn how to do it.
Yeah. So Claire's got a question there, Claire from Kalgoorlie.
Yeah, I was just wondering, so obviously we did it on our phones, but I assume people can also, if they're sitting on their computer joining from work, they can also just pull it up on an internet tab and like they can also join using a computer, or should it be a phone?
They can. There is a way of doing it, but if they do that, they won't be able to see, like, we voted on things and you answered questions. If they put it up on their computer screen, they actually can't see the results live.
Okay.
They can only see what they've done.
Okay.
So that's if I was the software creator, I would fix that. Because it's sort of the interactive bit is also seeing what other people's opinions are and what they answer and that.
So you really need the phones.
Yeah.
For that. Okay. Thank you.
Welcome.
I know when you've done it at the Birds and BBVs, people really have a lot of fun with the final quiz where they can actually see it's like a race and everyone, and you can actually make up your own name and you could be whoever you want to be.
Yeah.
And then you can actually see how you're going question by question and whoever wins the race. And what we've done with that, we've actually always had a prize for that person, and Jacqueline has sent me like a hepatitis hat, T-shirt or whatever, and so that's always been really fun. Yeah.
Yeah, that is a fun thing to do with that leaderboard after each question to see who has the correct answer and who was the quickest.
Yeah, because it's not about just the right answer, but who can answer it the quickest as well.
Yeah. But you can also upload videos into Mentimeter, show videos throughout your presentations.
Okay.
The amount of things you can do is endless. I've just given you a really, really brief little snapshot, but it's an excellent application.
Yeah. Oh, well, did anybody else have any questions for Jack, either about viral hepatitis or Mentimeter? I guess one thing that I thought about when you were presenting about Hep B was how 95% of adults can actually clear the virus. But then if you're a baby, you know, and to a mum who has Hep B, so you're an unborn baby and you're born with Hep B because your mum has had it and she didn't either get vaccinated or wasn't controlled or that during her pregnancy, and you've got Hep B, it's less likely that you will clear the virus.
Yes, that's correct. So they say 90% of babies who are born to mothers who have hepatitis B who aren't given the medications when they're born will go on to develop a lifelong case of hepatitis B. But even as adults, I mean, 5% doesn't seem a lot, but my best friend's sister got hepatitis B as an adult and she didn't clear it. So she's now in her 60s, so she's lived her whole adult life, living with hepatitis B. So I think, 5% doesn't seem a lot when you say it, but if you're one of that 5%, it's a huge impact on your life.
Yeah.
But of course, the babies, it's worse. Yeah.
That's right, and that's why it's so important that you know, we do an audit within our services to find out, you know, making sure that those people with chronic Hep B are followed up every 6 months for a blood test to see where their Hep B is and whether it's active and causing any problems, because obviously you only need to treat someone with Hep B during those times. So it's a little bit different to other viruses, perhaps where you might treat them, you know, regularly all the time, but Hep B you only really treat if it's in an active stage. Is that right?
That is my understanding. Yeah, there'll be periods where people will not need to be on treatment, and then other periods where they will. Yeah. Oh, Jude's got a question. Hi, Jude.
Hi, sorry, I'll just unmute myself. Yeah, I think that's a really important point you raise about Hep B, Veronica, and I think, you know, that's something we're really trying to educate GPs and health workers about, because we don't use this terminology anymore, but the whole concept of the healthy carrier that used to exist, where they would think that people had chronic Hep B but were healthy, but they could still transmit it, that they were going to stay healthy. But the important thing is to do that regular monitoring that you mentioned, so that they can see when liver damage is starting to occur, and then treatment would be indicated. Yeah, it's not like Hep C where everybody who's got chronic Hep C could be treated. Well, most people. So yeah, there is that difference, and that regular monitoring is really important.
Yes, it's very true.
Yeah, and I feel like there's a bit of a gap there with the understanding of that, and I don't know whether, you know, I don't really know why, because like Hep B's been around such a long time, but for some reason, even out in, you know, mainstream GP land, it's really about keeping to push that message about the importance of recalling those patients. Yeah. Okay, well, I think that's it. So, oh, great, thanks. So Claire's, yeah. So thank you very much, Jacqueline. I really think that, you know, moving forward, it's so good that we've got all these this technology that we can use, and it really does, you know, create a fun way of learning. And I definitely know that, you know, you've been delivering it through online to the birds and BBVs for, you know, a couple of years now, and we've had some really good feedback.
Yeah.
So thanks for sharing Mentimeter with us today, and yeah, we look forward to having you back again, and maybe, you know, we'll do a more in-depth viral hepatitis, perhaps choosing one of the viruses and really going into a bit more detail, because I think it's so important that we keep reminding people of the importance of bloodborne virus screening. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Veronica. And just one thing with Mentimeter, at the end of each presentation, my final question was, did you prefer online Mentimeter training, or would you have preferred face-to-face, or are both as good as each other? And overwhelmingly, people prefer Mentimeter, which is really, really strange. I think once in a blue moon, someone would say they would prefer face-to-face, but most of them prefer Mentimeter, or they think both would have actually been okay.
Yeah.
I think Mentimeter.
Sorry, can I just ask, so you mean face-to-face where you've then not used any sort of technology then, as opposed to, because obviously you can do face-to-face and still use Mentimeter as well?
Yes, you absolutely still
Yeah.
could.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks. Yeah.
Welcome.